I thought I would tell you all about my running background, which is basically nothing. And I wanted to talk about this because I just wanted to encourage people that don't really have any running in their background that they can be a runner. They can even run marathons and ultra marathons if they want to. But yeah, so my running background, I went to high school. The high school I went to was really small and didn't have track or cross country or anything like that, so no running in high school. But I did grow up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there was a 25K or 15.3 mile race that happened every year in Grand Rapids, and this was in the 70s when I was a little girl, and my dad trained for that race and ran it. I grew up watching my dad train for this 15-mile race that happened every year in May, and it was called the Old Kent Riverbank Run at that time. And he would train, and he would go on this 5-mile loop, and I went with him on my bike, and I watched my dad train. And it's kind of funny, I remember that there was always a certain point when he got close to home where he would gun it and just start running really fast and sprint to the finish of his run. But yeah, I watched my dad, and that race, we could get to the halfway point of it in about 4 minutes from our house. It was right in our backyard. And we'd go to the 9-mile point to see Dad come through, and then we would all hustle downtown to see Dad finish. And I remember thinking, I want to do this race. I was just a little girl, and I just thought it looked really neat. And, you know, before we would see Dad at the 9-mile point, we would see the elite runners go through. And I remember seeing Joan Benoit Samuelson. I think she was just Joan Benoit back then, running in this race. And I just thought, I want to do that. So I graduated high school, and I decided I was going to run it. I was 19, and I ran the race. I remember my longest training run was 10 miles, and then I ran the race with my dad. My dad finished way ahead of me. And I remember after the race, I think I finished in 2:42 or something. He probably finished closer to 2 hours. So he had to wait for me kind of a long time. But I remember hobbling back to the car after that race, and then I wrote about it in my journal, and I said that I always wanted to run the Riverbank Run, and I did it. And then I never ran the race again until 20 years later when I was 39. So that's my running background. A race when I was 19, and then 20 years passed with little or no running, and the race again, the very same race. In my 30s, I started long distance backpacking or hiking, and I hiked the Matahe Trail in North Dakota twice, once the 100-mile trail, and then they added 50 miles to it, so I hiked the 150 miles. And I've hiked, I think, an 80-mile stretch of the Arizona Trail and a few other trails. Nothing over 100 miles, but I really enjoyed that. And yeah, you'd go out and hike 12 to 15 miles a day with this really heavy pack on your back and just be out in nature and sleep out there, and it was great. I loved it. So Yeah, no real athletic ability. Um, Other than, I ran that one race when I was 19. Um, and I started hiking. So anybody can be a runner. I guess a few things I might have going in my favor is that I enjoy being outside. I don't mind being sweaty and dirty for long periods of time. um, I like my own company. Um, yeah. So if you were on the fence about wanting to run or even try doing an ultra run and you just thought you didn't have, there's no way you could do that, you don't need any special skills. You just have to want to do it and go out and put in the training. So a little later today, I'm going on a run, and then I will talk to you about, I resumed running at age 39 again, and I'll tell you about that and what kind of running I did and how that blossomed into ultra running. So stay tuned. We'll see if he comes. He's been out here all day barking at something. And I was hoping, then he stopped, and then I was hoping that when I went and got the mail, I would catch him sleeping in his hay bale. But he was poking around and hunting critters on the place. I'm getting ready to go out for my afternoon run. And as promised, I will tell you a little bit more about how I got into running. So, I'm 39, I just got married, moved to Iowa, and I think I started running again because I had a lot going on and I had moved away from my family and my friends and my whole life in Michigan, so I think I needed something to keep myself busy and keep my mind occupied. So I began running. I ran the 15-mile race in Michigan, and I was running half marathons out here in Iowa. I had no problem with the half marathon distance because I'd done that 15-mile race, so I knew I could for sure do a half marathon. So I was having fun, and one year I was training for a half marathon. I started training earlier, and I realized I was so far ahead in my training, and I realized that I could possibly have enough time to run a marathon. Actually, I did have enough time to train for a marathon. And I had never thought about running a marathon. I thought people that ran marathons were kind of crazy. That was nothing I would ever do. Well, I did it. I ran my first marathon, and it wasn't pretty. I had so many doubts, and the training was all over the place. But I did it, and I knew that I wanted to run another marathon as soon as I finished the first one. And my husband went with me to the race, and poor guy, I was so tired after that race, and we had a 2-hour or so drive home. The race was in Yankton, South Dakota, and I fell asleep within 15 minutes of us driving home. So he had to pretty much drive home with me zonked out. Come here, bud. Well, it looks like the animals are sick of my stories, and Max wants to go out running. Is that true? Is that true? Yes? Okay. So we're gonna go running. It's a little windy outside, so I probably won't talk when I'm out running today. But I will continue the story when I'm doing my sit-ups after the run in my little workout room. So let's go running. Tiger wants to say hi. Tiger, Say hi to the camera. Tiger, come on. You're so warm. You ready? Yeah, get out of there. Yeah, time to get out. Okay, let's go. So where was I? I just run my second marathon, and somewhere in here I read the book Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, and it introduced me to ultra running, and I was fascinated. I didn't even know about ultra running. I didn't know about Western States. I didn't know about anything about ultra running. And after that book, I read Scott Jurick's book, Eat and Run, and then I must have started thinking, what about me? Could I do this? And I have not run a third marathon. I started training. Well, what happened is I did my first trail run. I had never even run on trails. I did my first, it was a 18 mile or something. I'm not sure what that was, a 20K at Newton Hills. And then that same race had a 50K, and I wanted to do that one too. But somewhere in here, I decided that I was going to run, train for Zumbro, the Zumbro 50, which was in April. And so that's how I started thinking about ultra running and training about ultra running. And if you watch season 1 and season 2 on my YouTube channel, you'll see what happens with the training. And you know, I was really quite naive about what I thought I could do. At the beginning, I wanted to run a 100-miler, and I don't know that I'm ready for that yet. I don't think I've mastered the 50-mile distance. So yeah, that is how I got into running and marathons and ultra marathons. And I'm a really average person. I'm 48 now. And so I say, if you want to do something like this, go for it. I don't have any special talents. That would be my advice, is just chase your dreams. If that's your dream, to run miles and miles and miles on trails and be dirty and sweaty and have the best time of your life, then do it. What are you doing? Taking a nap?